Okay, who is the next now? Anjali? Okay, Anjali is the next one, and after that we have the last one for today. Okay, yes, you can now start presenting.
Good evening, all of you. I am Anjali Trivedi. Today's my topic is Marxist theory. Marxist is the social, political, and economic theory. It's organized by the Karl Marx, which is a which is focused on the struggle between the capitalist and the working class. Okay. First, we show a scene about the Karl Heinrich Marx. The Karl Marx was born on 5th May 1818 in Germany to middle class family. At the age of 17, he enrolled in a policy of a law at the University of Bonn. Then he transferred to the University of Berlin. He was a member and the leader to the many clubs of some being the young Hegelian movement to the Communist Society and the Communist League. Mm, he became known for his writing in theories. He became written for the Renzi Zentug, the Dutch Franzosis Zarbucher, and writing of famous and the written famous writings such as the economic and the philosophical manuscripts, the German ideology, the poverty of philosophy, the Communist Manifesto, the Neue Fenici Zentug, the class struggle in the France, the 18th Brumaire of Louis Bonaparte, the Grodices, the Civil War is France and more. He married Jenny von Westphalen and they had 6 children and in six, three whom lived. After fighting illness in the later years of his life, he are going through the death of his wife and with his eldest daughter. He died on the March 14, 1883. First, we've seen about the what is the Marxist theory. The Marxist the theory of the capitalism to Karl Marx and his followers. The international politics in a extension of a class war at the international level. In the capitalist are the exploiting the poor and the safe grounding that the interests are resorting to the wars and the imperialism. The popularity of this approach has been increasing ever since in the 1917. Here is the list of the capitalist countries and the regions: the North America, Central America, the most of the South America, the dominant and the Republic, Jamaica, Iceland, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, most of Europe, Russia, Georgia, Lebanon, Israel, India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Cambodia, Philippines, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand. The essential element of the Marxist theory, the social world should be analyzed as a totality. For Marxist academic division of the social world into the different areas of the inquiry, history, economic, etc., is both arbitrary and unhelpful. The none can be understood as without knowledge of the others. The materialistic conception of history, the central conception here is that the process of the historical change are the ultimately a reflection of the economic development of a society. Economic development is the motor of the history. The central dynamic that the Marx identifies it the tension between the means of production and the relation of production. The IR classes plays a key role in the Marxist analysis. In contrast to liberals, to who believes that there is an essential harmony of the interest between various social groups, Marxists hold that the society, the systematically prone to class conflict. The Marxian approach. The Marxist approaches the literature is based on the philosophy of the Karl Marx and the German philosopher and the economics. His major argument was that when whoever controlled the means of production in a society and the control the society. The Marx noted the disparity in economic and the political power enjoyed by the factory owners and that allowed to the factory laborers. He believes that the means of production he believes that the means of production should be the place in the hands those who actually operated them. He wrote that the economic and the political revolution around the world would eventually place power in the hands and the masses, the laborers. To read a work from a Marxist perspective, one must understand that the Marxism asserts that literature is the reflection of the culture and that the culture can, culture can be influenced by the literature. The Marxists believe literature can instigate revolution. The four main areas of the study: economic power, the materialistic versus the spirituality, class conflict, art, literature, and the ideologies. First, economic power. A society is saved by the force of production. Those who own the mean of production dictate what type of the society it is. The two main classes of the society are of the bourgeoisie, the who control the who control the means of production and wealth, and the proletarian who operate the means of production and are the controlled by the bourgeoisie. Since the bourgeoisie on that the means of production and therefore the control the money, they can manipulate the politics, government, education, art, and media. The capitalism is a flawed in that it create the commodification, not a desire of a profession, not for their innate usefulness, but for the social values. Display or the material objects are the most common way to showing of one's wealth. The commodification is the one way to borrow the bourgeoisie keep the proletariat oppressed. Whenever the proletariat managed to acquire some short of the status symbol, the bourgeoisie concept a new one. Thus, the proletarian continue to struggle, never able to catch up. Second, the materialism vs spirituality. The regardless of the what some might claim, social values reflect the material goals, not abstract ideals. The materials word is the only non-subjective elements in a society. The money and the material possessions are the same by every measure within a society. Where the spirituality is completely subjective. The quality of the person's life is not destroyed by the spiritual failure but material failure. The third one is the class conflict. A capitalist society will be inevitably experience conflict between its social classes. The owner and the worker will have different idea about the division of wealth generated, and the owner will ultimately make the decision. This concern conflict, dialectical materialism is what instigate the change. The bourgeoisies presented their politics, economics, and the social structure as only reasonable ones. Proletarian proletarian, the indoctrinated from birth to have pride their station, prevented from the waiting to the overthrow their operations. The only real social division in class, the division for the race, ethnicity, gender, and religion are the artificial divided by the bourgeoisie to the distract the proletarian from realizing their unity and rebelling against their oppressors. The Marx called the proletarian are reject the social structure of the bourgeoisie, that the rules that would keep them subjected forever and from their own values. Such a course would be the only way to escape the oppressions. For the proletarian could never defeat and the bourgeoisie on that its own term. For the workers to win, they must establish new term. For the art, literature, and the ideologies, the art, literature, and among the vehicles by which is the bourgeoisie impose the value stream on the proletarian. The arts can make that the culture can make that the current system seems are the attractive the endological, thus the ruling workers into the unacceptance of it. The works of art and the literature are enjoyable, so audience is unaware of being manipulated. The bourgeoisie control the most artistic output. Output, because whether through the prot- uh, Petrojews or the censorship, they are the entity that defines the entity that funds and arts and entertainment. Since that the bourgeoisie, the materiality support to the writers and the painters on the painters owning and the measure production, as well as the saving as a primary the customers, the primary the consumers, that artists must be careful not offend the bourgeoisie value. The anything offensive, challenging of the bourgeoisie will simply not be the published or the sold. Any artist of who wishes the criticize to bourgeoisie, the must do in the suitable way. Conclusion: the Marxist theory talks about the capitalism as to how the bourgeoisie rule over the proletarian. They exploit the working class for the self-interest. It tells that the proletariat have to take some step in order to overthrow the rule of dominating class. But actual practice socialism cannot be accomplished only through the class conflict and the proletarian revolution, according to some social demonstrate. Here is my reference. Thank you.
Okay, questions to Anjali? Yeah.
Hello, Anjali. My question is, what are the main idea behind the Marxism?
Marxists believe if a Marxists believe that if a working class makes itself a ruling class, and destroy the basic class of society will be society. So there will be a classless society. That's why in a Marxist society, no social classes in conflict, and no any other government in Marxism.
Anjali, my question is Marxism and capitalism the same thing?
According to the Encarta reference library, the Marxism is a sum up and defined as a theory of in which a class struggle in the central element in the analysis of social change in the Western society. Marxism is the opposite of capitalism. which is reference by the Encarta economic system based on the private ownership.
Okay, so before we go for the last, yes, Anjali. So the last two presentations which you have not made, no? So make a recording of both the presentations and upload on YouTube and submit the link in Google Classroom. When will you do that? Today. And you have to watch all the